Grace and peace. Welcome to Judah's Roar Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative YouTube channel. I'm your host, Apostle Cheryl. Before we get started, I want you to take a few seconds. Check down here below the video. Make sure you click on that subscribe button. And after you've done that, click the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified each time we upload a new video. We upload new videos every Sunday evening at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, thanks for taking the time to do that. Today's topic is, Dear Survivor, be at peace with yourself. Dear Survivor, be at peace with yourself. Now, I like to make sure that we're all on the same page. And so it's important to understand what words actually mean, right? And not just what we think they mean. Peace is defined as a state of tranquility or quiet, such as freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions. Freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions. Harmony in personal relations. Some words that mean the same thing as peace are accord, calm, quiet, tranquility, order, stability. And words that are antonyms or mean the opposite of peace are battle, combat, turmoil, strife, discord, stress, tension, or anxiety. Now, today's title is, Dear Survivor, be at peace with yourself. Be free from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions and experience harmony in your personal relationship with yourself, with your own self. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. One of the biggest challenges that a DV survivor faces, even after successfully exiting their abusive relationship, is making peace, being at peace with ourselves. Okay, it's not unusual that even after, finding the wherewithal to exit, finding the wherewithal and the intestinal fortitude to start over, with all that entails, relocating, sometimes to a completely different region, connecting to a new support group. That means trying to learn to trust new people, living your life as governed by a well thought out, well planned safety plan. And so even after we've done all of that, once the tension starts to dissipate a little bit, and once we begin to experience some stability in our day-to-day lives and in our day-to-day existence, we're able to establish new routines, build new friendships, have a brighter hope for the future. It's not uncommon for the negative self-talk to creep in. This is not uncommon at all. And I think it's important that if we're going to navigate any situation, strategically and in a healthy manner, that our expectations are realistic and reasonable. So it's not reasonable to expect that you won't have some negative self-talk, that you won't have days that are just really, really tough, challenging days. What does a negative self-talk sound like? Well, it sounds something like this. How did you get into this mess in the first place? How did you get into this mess in the first place? Or it can sound like this. People say that we attract to us who we are ourselves. Now, if that's true, what kind of person am I that I would attract someone who would do whatever they did to you, who would withhold from me whatever they withheld from you, who would establish this pattern of maltreatment, and have no regard for my morale, my welfare, or my safety? What kind of person am I if what people say is true, that I draw to myself, right? What I actually am inside. Here are a few other ways that this negative self-talk may try to creep in. How did I not see the red flags? How did I not see the red flags? Or, once I did see the red flags, why did I stay anyway? Once I saw the red flags, Why did I stay anyway? Another form it may take is, especially if you have children, understanding how toxic the relationship was. How could I expose my children to this individual in the first place? And why did I stay, leaving them in harm's way? Okay, that's a tough one. What kind of a friend or a daughter or cousin am I to live my life in such a way and to make relationship choices that causes my loved ones to live in constant fear and anxiety about my well-being? Or what kind of person has a loving support system and withholds the truth from them regarding the abuse that they are enduring at home? So these are all the different ways, and I'm sure that there are many, many more. And if you can think of one that we've not mentioned, do feel free to drop it in the comments, okay? It may help someone who views this video at a later date. Now, victims and survivors of abuse, of domestic violence, can be relentlessly unforgiving of ourselves. And for the most part, this is due to the coercive control tactics, the gaslighting, the financial abuse, the emotional abuse, the psychological abuse, the withholding, the physical abuse, the threats, the stalking. Some have even experienced strangulation. And so once you've been exposed to all of that, the impact of all of those, the culmination of those coercive control tactics over the life of that relationship have an impact. And one common outcome is that survivors are incredibly hard on themselves. Remember, these manipulative behaviors have over time undermines your positive self regard and everything that you thought you knew and understood about who you are and what your purpose is and what your potential is and what your abilities are and what your destiny is supposed to be. You can go into an abusive relationship with a clear sense of self. But if you remain in it, you will most likely exit with a diminished sense of self. Exposure to these coercive control tactics diminish our ability to see ourselves accurately. It is draining, it is denigrating, and it impacts our perspective of the world and our role in it. Ultimately, robbing you of your power, robbing you of your power to determine the path that your life will take. Listen, listen. It's important that you realize that you are pretty amazing, actually. All things considered, you are pretty amazing. Now, those of you who know me know this. I'm not going to make up something that's not true. I'll figure out something that I can say that is positive and empowering and uplifting, but that is the truth. Like nice shoes, or I really like your hairstyle, or I love your blouse. Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you. You're pretty amazing. You're pretty amazing. Now, Apostle, why do you say this? Why do you say this? You don't know me personally. How can you tell me I'm amazing? This is how I can tell you you're amazing. And I'm telling you, once I grasped this truth, once I grasped this, it empowered me so. It empowered me so. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned. Abusers aren't stupid. Well, they are, but they aren't. This is what I mean. Abusers aren't stupid. They're not going to waste their time trying to gain control of someone who has absolutely nothing going for themselves, who has nothing to offer. If an abuser is focused on you, you have treasure that you haven't even identified yourself, most likely. They've observed things about you that you've overlooked about yourself. So the fact that they're even interested in clinging and hanging on and threatening and doing what they do, cutting up, is confirmation that you're amazing. You're already amazing, okay? Their appetite is insatiable. So their focus and their attention is confirmation that you're amazing, right? But also, they know what an insatiable appetite they have. They know how much it takes to feed that mindset of of domination and control and power. And so you have a vast wealth of whatever it is that they're looking for. You don't have a little bit of it. You have a whole lot of it. Okay. You have a whole lot of it. Or they wouldn't even be trying you. They wouldn't even be trying you. Okay. Despite all that you have endured, hear me well. Despite all that you have endured, you are still here. Now, I'm saying you are still here, even if you are still there. I'm saying you are still here because you're watching this video. You are trying to gain knowledge. You're trying to regain your power. You're trying to level the playing field here. And so, even if you are still trapped for now, even if you aren't ready to leave right now, as long as you stay open to learning, educate yourself, every opportunity you get that you can do it safely. Educate yourself about domestic violence and the impacts and the effects, okay? And how it can change how we view ourselves and how we view the world. Connect with other survivors. Connect with support groups. There's domesticshelters.org. There is the Battered Women's Justice Project. There are so many agencies and resources out. There's a resource out now called eBodyguard that can help you to stay safe, even if you're currently still in your situation. Okay. And so you're still here, even if you're still there. You have survived it. You figured out how to stay alive under very dire circumstances, and you are to be commended for that. Extend to yourself. Here's the challenge: the same grace that you extend to others who make less than healthy choices. We have a tendency to be harder on ourselves than we are on others. So extend to yourself that same grace. Give yourself credit for tuning in every week to watch the videos, sneaking off into a quiet place and binge watching our YouTube channel, researching, educating yourself, joining support groups, learning how to develop a safety plan. Okay? Here's the process. Here's the process that I found helpful. Identify truthfully what you knew or suspected prior to engaging and embarking on that relationship. And this is helpful even if you've exited the relationship. This is helpful. This can help you to understand how you got there. Okay, it's not enough to know that you were there. It's not enough, beloved, to know that you ended up in a place that ended up being a complete and total disastrous nightmare. You want to understand how that happened, okay? What actions or lack of actions form the basis of your knowing that something was off, or your suspicions? If you had suspicions early on, if you had a feeling early on, it was based on something that you observed, something that you felt or experienced, okay, that just didn't seem right. And if you can go back and identify what that is, it will help you going forward. Okay. Now, here's the thing: don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Because if we suspected something, if we observed something, we detected a red flag, how did you talk yourself into remaining in harm's way? How did you talk yourself into staying? Okay, so that might have sounded something like, well, don't judge, or everyone has a past, or I should give them the benefit of the doubt, or I know how it feels to be misunderstood. It's important that you identify what you told yourself that made it okay for you to stay in harm's way. Okay? This is a tremendous hurdle. It's a tremendous hurdle. I can tell you from personal experience. Once you clear it, though, once you clear this hurdle, you know exactly what you should specifically forgive yourself for. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know before you knew it. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Some things we just don't know. We don't know. We don't have a life experience to compare it to. There are so many factors that go into helping us to determine who we should have relationships with and who we shouldn't. And so forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Forgive yourself for effectively getting in and over your head, for staying past the point where you now see you should have left, for becoming angry with loved ones who express concern, um, and you either lashed out at them or cut them off and isolated from them, um, which you can now see was orchestrated by the abuser. Okay. This was a response to the coercive control tactics that had been used against you. Forgive yourself for needing what you needed at that time. Forgive yourself for believing that you needed it. Okay. And while you're thinking about what you can specifically forgive yourself for, we're still talking about being at peace with yourself. This is so important. Being at peace with yourself will make you so less vulnerable to an abusive manipulator going forward. You'll be more willing to protect yourself. You'll be more willing to choose yourself over a toxic, unhealthy relationship. Okay? And so once you've done that, give yourself credit. Give yourself credit for being able to see it now. Give yourself credit for being able to see it now, for being able to acknowledge it today, for being able to acknowledge it now. Even if you're still trapped in it, the fact that you're able to see it is awesome. Okay? Being willing to do something about safely securing your freedom, even if you can't do it right now. And remember, educate yourself. Learn as much as you can about domestic violence and how it affects us. Continued growth and increased empowerment are the goal. And I'm telling you, education and relationship are key. Connect with your local domestic violence shelter. Connect with an advocate. Educate yourself. Even if you can't exit right now, even if you're not sure you want to exit right now, continue to educate yourself. That's our challenge to you. You are an overcomer. You are. You're an overcomer. And you're pretty amazing. And there is life after abuse. And parts of it won't be easy. Certain aspects of it are incredibly challenging. But you know what? You've already experienced incredibly challenging, right? So you're up for the challenge. You're up for the challenge. You just have to use wisdom. You have to use wisdom, educate yourself, regain your strength, regain your voice. You can do that in place if you need to until you can exit safely. What have we been talking about? Dear survivor, be at peace with yourself. Be free of negative thoughts about yourself and your potential and your ability and your future and your destiny, because you're amazing. You're amazing, and there's help out here. This is Apostle Cheryl with Judah's Roar Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative. You be safe out there. You be safe. Blessings to you.